Hello everybody, welcome back. Today I want to post a trap heavy Labrynth build that I took to my most recent locals, went X1 with it, but the deck itself was fine. I think a hand trap heavy build is probably still going to be more efficient, but definitely an interesting take. It's very similar to the backjack trap trick Arias list that was going around a little while ago. I posted one similar to it a little while ago as well, but this is more of a slightly more modern version for the fire format and involving like the Black Goat Last, for example. The deck revolves entirely around Arias, and the thing I do like about this variant of the deck in comparison to kind of pure lab is that you are playing 3 Arias, and Arias becomes a lot more of a starter in this because you're playing so many more trap cards that Arias would like to work with. So when you're thinking of starters, normally you've just got your 3 Ariana, your 3 Stovey, and your 3 Chandelier as like the main kind of bread and butter cards of lab, but adding in the 3 Arias definitely boosts your consistency as far as, seeing engine. And then I'm playing 1 of each of these, being Lady Lab, Lovely, and the Ku Clock. So 15 lab monsters. These are all fine just at 1. I would like to play Ariane. She would fit into the deck perfectly. There's definitely a way. You could probably cut, for example, 1 Black Goat Last and fit her in fine. But yeah, that's definitely a card that can work as well quite nicely in this build. 1 setup. So we're not maining the field spell, we aside the field spell, but the setup works really well, obviously, with Trap Trick, and being able to set, traps like Trap Trick, Black Goat, DDG, being able to set Imperm even, like just being able to get 2 free traps while recurring your Labyrinth spells and traps is really nice. So I think that the card's crazy, works really well when you are already playing Trap Trick to kind of accelerate that process. Otherwise the games are too quick and Labyrinth setup does definitely lose its viability. With the other Labyrinth traps, of course, it's 3 big welcome, 2 welcome, and I'll put these here, but we've got 2 transaction rollback. In this build, I think Black Goat is the better discard. Obviously, pitching rollback is always going to feel good, but because we're also playing the 3 Arias, I wanted to kind of maximize our disruptions because we don't have as much space for hand traps. So we can kind of fit 6 good non-engine slots into the deck. And then we were kind of relying on the furnitures and Arias to kind of pull the weight a little bit as well. So furniture discard Black Goat is really good. I'll put this here now. So 3 Black Goat. I think in the Unchained or just more like a pure lab with more hand traps, I'd probably switch this around to go 3 rollback 2 Goat, or even 1 Goat potentially you could go. But this card was crazy. One of the matchups was like Voiceless Voice and being able to kind of call the ritual monster before it. When they're trying to ritual summon, it forces them to either, have open Saravis or just don't get a ritual summon. And so this happened a number of times, just, call the ritual, and it was pretty good. But yeah, definitely 3 go 2 rollback, or if you want to fit an Ariane, you could go 2 and 2. But I think this is just the better discard for the furnitures, and of course, like Arias and rollback is not an ideal combination. So I've kind of flipped the numbers a little bit to kind of make it work. And that was fine, It came up a couple of times where you went furniture pitch goat, and it's a free interruption while setting a trap, which is pretty nice. Then Trap Trick is the other kind of big haymaker, and being able to go Arias Trap Trick into any trap card is really crazy. Specifically Arias Trap Trick into then DDG, and this would be the kind of the reason you could play this deck is for a turn 0 DDG against if you're going second. Obviously, it does require opening that very specific 2 card combination of Arias and Trap Trick or Arias and DDG, but it doesn't happen too infrequently. Like, it's actually not too bad. And then as well, being able to go Arias Trap Trick as a starter and then Trap Trick into Big Welcome. Of course, the Big Welcome can be activated. That's for consistency purposes, it worked out really well. But I still feel like the lack of hand trap space, especially coming into this format where there are so many more hand traps everywhere. Yeah, I think it's maybe not worth it. Maybe siding, definitely siding DDG, of course, but whether or not you go even more crazy inside Trap Trick as well, just to give yourself that better consistency, maybe, but I think probably just hand traps is probably just a better approach. Then I was playing the 3 Prosperity, 1 Called by the Grave. I don't know, I've just always liked Prosperity over Extravagance. I mean, we're playing, now again, focusing on Arias, we're playing a deck that is, it's very much a 2-card combo deck. So being able to prosp into one of your missing engine pieces is really nice. Being able to prosp for breakers and things in the side deck is always also really nice. Extravagance definitely gets ashed more, and that would be the kind of main reason why I'd play Extravagance if I was to play it, is just because it baits out ash before you get ashed on something in engine. But I don't know, I like the versatility of Prosperity. I think I always will. And then the last 6 cards, this is what I was testing. I was testing main deck Shifter. It was fine. I mean, I pitched, going first, you just pitch it off of furniture if you need to. But I was trying to kind of really focus the main deck on a fire deck, and being able to, Shifter shut down your opponent's turn is pretty good. Shifter also kind of works nicely with Labrynth setup, which was another kind of benefit to this, is that if you're not aware, when you have Shifter, you could activate the Shifter and then chain a furniture to set a trap card. Obviously the furniture won't get banished, the discard won't get banished. The trap card though, if you set Big Welcome, it will get banished when you do eventually activate it on the next turn. Same thing with Arias. You could go, obviously you've got to be in the main phase for Arias, so it'd be Shifter, chain Arias, set a card. That does play into Talents, which is the one consideration you'd have to kind of make with Shifter and Arias. But Shifter and Furniture works out perfectly. You can do that in the draw phase or standby phase. Obviously if you've got an imperm, you've got to kind of, layer disruptions, but Shifter's just crazy, so you just hold this. But yeah, Shifter, and then working with Labrynth setup, that definitely worked a couple of times. And then when you're going first and you open Shifter, you can just pitch it with the furniture, and then of course going into games 2 and 3, if you know you're going to go first, you just side the Shifter out because you don't want to activate it on your first turn. It's definitely more for going second. And just when I was just trying to think about how to best kind of select the non-engine when your Labrynth cards can certainly be non-engine when you're pitching Black Goat or you're using Arias to set Trap Trick and get DDG. So I went for Shifter just because it's the most high impact kind of hand trap. It definitely does hurt Labrynth as well, but if it's just for going second and it hurts Viking more than hurts you, and you end up banishing a trap card or whatever, at least you've got set up to kind of mitigate the loss. So in theory, I think it works out really well. It definitely, I think, requires a bit more practice. Otherwise, you could simply side the D-Shifter potentially for when you're going second, just so it's not a dead card going first. Because I think as well going first, if your board gets interrupted by enough hand traps, then having Shifter in your hand is just not going to work because it's not a hand trap. So being able to back your board up with hand traps is always what is more ideal. So Shifter definitely is not good for that, but otherwise it's fine. The extra deck looks bad, and it's because it's got Unchained cards in it, and that's only because I threw the deck together right before Local started when it was an Unchained lab deck, and I just didn't change the extra deck. I mean, in the end, I didn't actually touch the extra deck for the entire tournament, but I'll just quickly go through it. These are all just cards that, again, I'm playing one-offs because with Prosperity it's fine. I mean, I'm not even playing Nib, but Gallagher's still there. So these are all just cards you can play in Labrynth generally. This is the extra deck I do play for Unchained Lab, but usually that involves Nibiru and other things like that. So they're all just cards that I just banish off Prosperity, but nothing too crazy. Yeah, and obviously Arian as well. That's why the rank 4s are in there. But the side deck, more important. Sorry, I am playing Nibs in the side deck. We had Ash, Nibiru, just some kind of more Haymaker hand traps. Well, Ash not a Haymaker, but definitely Ash is the easiest side in for the Shifter. I've been testing it at Phantasme. Probably not going to keep it in for much longer, but been testing it out. Cosmic, I really rate, and then I was just playing Talents and the Field spell. But the thing I kind of really wanted to show off with the deck was mainly just the Arias Trap Trick. Again, I've done it before, but it's definitely got a potential place in the the format. I mean, DDG is just such a crazy card. I know a lot of people are talking about playing DDG with like Thrust, for example, and the fact that we can already access it really easily in Engine with the lab cards, Arias, and things like that is just a reason you could play the deck. But of course, we know that the deck is losing a bit of, well, it definitely doesn't have an ideal matchup into fire, and so that's why I've gone for this build of the deck, just to see how we go mitigating the weakness to fire, to see if you can maybe make the matchup a little bit better, more in your favor. But otherwise, that's going to be the profile, and I'll catch you the next one.